Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tear into a really powerful and honestly pretty surprising critique of something most of us just take for granted, our education system. The core of this argument is that one of its most basic parts isn't just flawed, it's a catastrophe. And to really get why, we've got to start with something you probably see a dozen times a day.
You know this screen, right? It's just a simple, everyday gate. You pop in your password, your secret key, and boom, you're either in or you're out. It's this universal little gatekeeper we're all constantly dealing with.
It's a simple choice, isn't it? Access granted or access denied. There's absolutely no in-between. But what if I told you that this exact same logic, this incredibly simple pass or fail switch, is being used to decide the entire future for millions and millions of students?
And that, right there, is the heart of this whole thing. For so many educational systems all over the world, the final exam, that's the ultimate gatekeeper. Think about it. It's one single moment, a single super high-stakes test that determines if a student's entire year of effort was a success or a total bust.
Now really pay attention to the language here. The source material for this explainer doesn't just call this system flawed or maybe inefficient. Nope, it uses the word catastrophe. And that's a heavy word, a really deliberate choice, right? It's meant to make us all stop and go, whoa, wait a minute, what's really going on here?
So why such a dramatic word? Well, the argument is that, for starters, it's just profoundly unfair. It pushes students away from real learning and straight into just memorizing facts. The pressure is insane. And get this, in some of these systems, if you fail just one subject, you might have to retake all of them. Imagine that, all of that work down the drain. And what's the final product? The argument is that you end up with semi-literate graduates, people who might have a lot of facts crammed in their head, but very little real understanding.
And that leads us right to what is called the biggest problem of all in this whole system, this inescapable trap of just memorizing things.
Our source lays out this four-step cycle that's, kind of funny, but also really tragic when you think about it. Step 1, information gets delivered in a classroom. Step 2, the student is told to memorize it, from cover to cover. Step 3, they spit all that information back out perfectly on the exam. And then, the final, most important step, Step 4, all that information is almost instantly forgotten. So you have to ask yourself, is that really learning?
And of course, this has a huge side effect. When the only thing that matters is passing the test, students don't pick the subjects they're actually passionate about, or the fields that society really needs, like sciences or engineering. No way. They often pick the safer option, the subjects that are easier to memorize, the ones that basically guarantee a pass. The system itself is actually steering smart people away from where we need them most.
Okay, now this is where the argument gets really, really explosive. The source claims that this binary pass-fail system doesn't just grade students. It actively creates two very distinct kinds of people. And it argues that both of these products are, in the long run, destructive to society. And here's the kicker. The system is seen as damaging everyone. It doesn't matter if you pass or fail. On one side, you've got the failed student. Society slaps a label on them, and that can breed resentment, apathy, maybe even destructive behavior. But on the other side, you've got the successful student. They get all the praise, all the celebration, but that can create arrogance, and it hides a huge weakness, because the only real skill they've mastered is cramming and memorizing. Let's dig into that successful student for a second. Society basically puts them on a pedestal, right? They're seen as a genius, as someone with a magic wand who can just solve any problem. But this creates a really dangerous illusion. It completely masks the fact that they might not know how to think critically or solve a real problem that isn't neatly printed in a textbook. It's a confidence built on a very shaky foundation.
And for the failed student, the path can be even darker. Imagine feeling totally rejected by the one system that was supposed to measure your worth. They can end up with this deep, simmering resentment. Our source even suggests this can turn into a kind of revenge on the society that called them a failure, leading them to just check out entirely.
So this brings us all the way back to where we started, to that login screen. If we all kind of get that a person's whole identity and potential can't be boiled down to a simple password, then why do we accept that their entire education can be?
And that really is the main takeaway here. The months, the years of a student's hard work, their curiosity, their aha moments, their actual growth as a person. All of that is just so much richer and more complicated and valuable than anything that can be captured in a single 3-hour exam. Reducing that whole journey to one pass-fail moment is, as our source argues, just a massive miscalculation of what people are capable of.
Which leaves us with one last thing to really think about. We all know that life, real life, is this messy, continuous process of learning and adapting and growing. It's not a single test where you get a clear pass or fail at the end. So the question we're left with is, why on earth do we structure so much of education that way?